day, everyone, and welcome to our discussion on emotional development. Emotions are a natural part of our life, and learning to recognize, understand, and manage them is actually essential for our well being. Today, we will explore key aspects of emotion, stress, and coping strategies to help us respond thoughtfully in challenging situations. By the end of this lesson, you will be able to identify different types of emotions people experience, differentiate between negative stress or distress and positive stress or eustress, then understand the sources of stress, recognize how stress affects your mind, body, and behavior, and practice strategies to cope effectively. Now let's dive in and discover skills that will help us face challenges with courage, stay balanced, and live a meaningful, fulfilling life. And now, for our learning outcomes at the end of this lesson or discussion, you will be able to identify the varied emotions, recognize and name different emotions that people experience. Second, differentiate distress from eustress, distinguished between negative stress and positive stress. Then explain the sources of stress. You will identify the common situations, people, or event that causes stress. Then determine the effects of stress. You have to understand how stress can affect our thoughts, feelings, body, and behavior. And lastly, exemplify on ways to cope. Practice and apply healthy strategies to manage stress effectively. Now, emotions are natural responses of our body and mind to people, situations, events, or even our own thoughts. They guide how we think, feel, and act, influencing our decisions, interactions, and overall well being. Emotions can be positive, like happiness and love, which motivate and energize us, or negative, such as anger and anxiety, which signal when something is wrong or requires attention. There are also neutral emotions like surprise or curiosity that help us process and adapt to new situations. Now, understanding emotion is the first step towards emotional intelligence, which allows us to respond constructively rather than react impulsively. Now, recognizing our emotional states help us communicate effectively, build relationships, and manage stress in our daily life. While it is really important to understand what emotions are, the next natural question is where do these emotions come from? Now, emotions are influenced by five main sources, which work together to shape how we feel, react, and interact with the world. First is brain activity. Emotions begin in the brain, particularly the limbic system and amygdala. These areas process information and trigger emotional responses. For example, when you see a friend smile, your brain quickly interprets it as positive, and you may feel joy before even thinking about it. The brain activity also explains why emotions can be automatic or instantaneous, such as sudden fear response to danger. Another is personal experiences and memories. Our past experiences strongly influence our emotions. Positive experiences can create feelings of comfort, happiness, and confidence, while negative experiences may cause stress, fear, or sadness. These memories shape patterns in our emotional responses. For instance, if someone had a bad experience giving a speech, they may feel anxiety, the next time they are called to speak, even when the situation is different. Next is environmental triggers. Emotions are affected by our surroundings. People, places, events, and even small environmental cues like the time of the day or noise level can trigger emotional responses. For example, a loud, crowded room may cause frustration or anxiety, whereas a calm, quiet environment may bring relaxation and peace. Awareness of environmental triggers allows us to anticipate and regulate our emotional responses more effectively. The next one is personal meanings, beliefs, and values. How we interpret situation is really influenced by our personal beliefs and values. Two people may experience the same event but have very different emotional reactions depending on their perspective. For example, receiving constructive criticism at work may feel encouraging to one person but threatening to another. Understanding these personal lenses can help us identify why certain situations evoke strong emotions. Another one, the last one, by the way, is the biological and hormonal responses. This is where emotions come from. Emotions are not only psychological, they involve biological processes as well. Hormones such as adrenaline, serotonin, dopamine actually influence the mood, energy levels, and the intensity of emotional reactions. This explains why stress or excitement can produce physical reaction such as a racing heart, sweaty palms, or butterflies in the stomach. Recognizing the body's role in emotion help us connect physical sensations with feelings and better regulate our responses. Emotions are complex and multi-layered, emerging from the interaction between our brain, body and experience, environment, and personal perspective. By understanding these sources, we can improve our emotional awareness, predict our responses, and develop strategies for emotional regulation. This is the foundation of emotional intelligence, which enhances personal well being and relationship. Now, once we understand the origins of emotions, the next step is to classify them. Emotion can be positive, negative, or even neutral, and each type has distinct effects on our thoughts, behavior, and interactions. As we continue our exploration of emotions, emotion again is can be classified into three main types: positive, negative, and neutral. Each type affects our behavior, decision making, and interactions differently. The first one is positive emotions. This positive emotions example includes joy, love, pride, gratitude, hope, and calmness. This emotion make us feel good and strengthen relationship. It also builds motivation. They energize us and enhance our overall well-being, help us approach challenges with optimism. For negative emotions, examples include the anger, fear, sadness, stress, jealousy, and disgust. While they may feel uncomfortable, negative emotions are natural and signal that something requires attention. They alert us to potential threats, problems, or areas in our life that needs adjustment. Learning to recognize and manage these emotions is very crucial for maintaining healthy relationship and personal balance. Last is neutral emotions. Examples include curiosity, surprise, boredom, and confusions. Now, neutral emotions are not strongly positive nor or negative, but play an important role in helping us adapt to new situations. They can guide learning, exploration, and critical thinking by prompting um, awareness and reflections. Understanding the types of emotion is very essential because it allows us to identify our feelings and develop strategies for managing them. Recognizing whether an emotion is positive, negative, or neutral help us respond thoughtfully rather than react impulsively, which is a cornerstone of emotional intelligence. Now that we were able to classify emotion, it is also important to explore how some intense emotions like stress, anxiety, and anger affect us differently from everyday feelings. So, stress is the body physical and psychological reaction to any demand, pressure, or challenge. This is what stress is all about. Stress actually occurs when these demands exceed our ability to cope, and it can affect multiple aspects of our health, including our mind. Stress can interfere with thinking, focus, mode, and decision making. It may cause anxiety, overthinking, or confusion. Next is our body. Stress often triggers physical symptoms such as headaches, muscle tensions, fatigue, or a racing heartbeat. Lastly is behavior. Of course, it can influence our action, causing irritability, withdrawal, or changes in eating or sleeping patterns. Now, this actually highlights common sources of stress, including the school, work pressure, relationship issues, financial problems, tight schedules, and major life changes. Now, recognizing these stressors help us anticipate and respond more effectively. While a small amount of stress can motivate us to perform better, prolonged or overwhelming stress can negatively affect our health and well being. Now, understanding stress as a natural response rather than something inherently bad allow us to develop strategies for coping, adapting, and staying balanced in challenging situations. Now that we actually know what stress is and how it affects our mind, body, and behavior, we will now going to explore how stress works in stages. This is according to Hans Selye's General Adaptation Syndrome in 1936. Now, Hans Selye is a Canadian-Hungarian physician and scientist. He is actually considered the father of modern stress research due to his pioneering work in understanding how the body reacts to demands and challenges. In 1936, he began studying stress systematically, discovering that stress is a natural response of the body to any kind of demand, whether physical, emotional, or natural responses, or environmental. So this concept is captured in his famous quote, stress is the non-specific response of the body to any demand made upon it. This emphasized that the stress is universal and automatic rather than tied to a specific cause. Salye's contribution include the pioneering research on the physiological effects of stress, demonstrating that the body responds in the same way to a variety of stressors, both good and bad. He identifies that stress responses involve complex interactions of hormones and bodily development of the general adaptation syndrome or GAS theory. So this is actually he work the theory of general adaptation syndrome. Now, these outlines how the body adapts to stress over time. This theory provided a framework for understanding the stages of stress and the importance of managing it to maintain mental, emotional, and physical well being. Through his research, sorry, where is it? Now, through his research, Celia provided a deeper understanding of stress, showing that it is neither inherently good nor bad. Instead, recognizing stress and learning how to cope effectively can enhance performance, resilience, and overall health, making his findings essential for both scientific study and everyday life management. Now, building on Hans Selye's discovery that stress is the body's non-specific response to demands, he proposed that the body reacts to stress in three natural stages, collectively called the General Adaptation Syndrome or GAS. The first stage is the alarm stage. This is actually often called the fight, fight or flight phase. When a stressor is detected, the body responds immediately by activating the nervous system and releasing stress hormones. This result in physical changes such as the increase in heart rate, faster breathing, energy surges, and heightened alertness, all preparing the body to confront or escape the challenge. If the stressor continues, the body enters the resistance stage, where it attempts to adapt and cope. Although a person may appear to function normally, the body works harder internally to maintain balance. Stress hormones remain elevated, energy is consumed at a higher rate, and the person may feel fatigue, but they often push through to meet demands. This stage reflects the body's efforts to manage prolonged challenges while maintaining performance. Finally, when stress persists beyond the body's capacity to cope, it reaches the exhaustion stage. At this point, resources are depleted, leaving the individual vulnerable to physical illnesses, emotional disturbances, and cognitive difficulties. Energy levels drop, motivation wanes, and the risk of burnout increases. Recognizing these stages emphasizes the importance of early stress management to prevent the harmful consequences of prolonged stresses. And of course, underscore why Celius research remain foundational in understanding human resilience and health. Understanding the stages of stress, the alarm, the resistance, and exhaustion, help us see how the body reacts over time to challenges. However, stress does not affect everyone in the same way. It can take different forms depending on its cause, duration, and intensity. To fully grasp how stress impacts our emotions, behavior, and health, it is important to examine the types of stress, including positive stress that can motivate us and negative stress that can overwhelm our coping ability. So these are the types of stress. After understanding the stages of stress, again, it is important to examine the different types of stress that can affect our mind and body. Stress is a natural reaction to external or internal demands, but it manifests differently depending on its source, duration, and impact. The first ways to classify stress is by impact, which is eustress or positive stress that motivates and energizes us, providing excitement and focus for challenges such as starting a new project or preparing for an important event. In contrast, distress or negative stress overwhelms our coping capacity and can drain our energy, leading to anxiety, exhaustion, or other health problems if unmanaged. Stress can also be classified by duration and frequency, which highlights how long or how often it affects us. The first one is acute stress. Is a short-term and immediate, occurring in response to sudden challenges like last minute deadlines or unexpected obstacles. And it's usually subsides once the situation is resolved. Next is episodic acute stress. That occurs when short-term stressors happen repeatedly, such as back-to-back obligations or frequent, conflicts, keeping the body in a near constant state of tensions. Next is chronic stress. This is a prolonged This is a prolonged resulting from persistent demands like ongoing work pressure, financial difficulties, or relationship issues, which can seriously impact both physical and mental health. Finally, the traumatic stress arises from high distressing events such as accidents, natural disaster, or abuse, which can have deep and lasting effects on emotional and physical well being. Now, by understanding the types of stress, we can recognize our own stress patterns, anticipate challenges, and implement strategies to cope effectively, ensuring that stress serves as a motivator rather than a detriment to our health and performance. Having explored the different types of stress, including both positive and negative forms and their varying durations, we can now see how these stressors and strong emotions can affect our overall functioning. The next topic focuses on the effects on extreme emotions and stress, examining how prolonged or intense emotions experiences impact our body, mind, behavior, and relationship. Extreme emotions and prolonged stress can profoundly impact every aspect of a person's life, influencing physical health and mental clarity, behavior, and social relationships. When emotions become intense or the stress lasts too long, the body experiences physical reactions such as headaches, migraines, muscle tensions, fatigue, insomnia, and even high blood pressure. These physical symptoms occur because stress triggers the release of hormones like adrenaline and cortisol, which prepare the body to respond to challenges, but if sustained, can weaken the immune system and strain the cardiovascular system. Now, uh, mentally, stress and extreme emotion can disrupt cognitive processes, leading to overthinking, poor concentration, memory difficulties, negative thinking, anxiety, sadness, helplessness, and even burnout. These effects can undermine decision making, problem solving, and overall mental clarity, making it harder, to manage daily responsibilities or respond effectively to challenges. Behavioral changes are also common. Under extreme stress, individuals may experience irritability, okay, mood swings, and then withdrawal from family or friends, loss of interest in activities, challenges in appetite, overuse of alcohol or cigarettes, and impulsive or risky decisions. These behavior often create feedback loop, worsening stress and emotional intensity. Now, socially unmanaged emotions and stress can strain relationship resulting in conflicts, poor communication, feelings or isolations, loss of trust, and difficulties maintaining friendship or professional relationships. These relational effects can further compound the emotional burden, creating a cycle of stress and disconnection. Now, recognizing these effects early is crucial to preventing long term consequences. By understanding how stress and emotion impact the body, mind, behavior, and relationships, individuals can implement strategies to manage stress, seek support, and maintain balance. Awareness allows for proactive coping, fostering resilience, and improving both mental and physical well being. Now, experiencing extreme emotions or prolonged stress can feel overwhelming, but there are practical strategies that help manage and regulate these intense feelings. The first one is to acknowledge your emotion. This is how you're going to handle emotions and stress. Recognizing and naming your feelings allows you to process them instead of suppressing them. Next is practicing deep breathing and pausing. Helps calm the mind and body, giving you the space to respond thoughtfully rather than impulsively. You can also refocus your thoughts by challenging negative thinking and replacing it with positive or realistic perspectives, which actually reduces emotional intensity. Physical activity, such as stretching, no, walking, or other forms of exercise, help release tensions and restore balance to the body. Engaging also in healthy coping strategies like reading, journaling, or listening to music provides an outlet for stress and promotes mental well-being. Another key approach is to talk to someone you trust. Sharing your feelings with some supportive individuals to lighten the emotional load. We also have time management and prioritization. This also helps reduce stress by breaking tasks into manageable steps and focusing only on what you can control. Finally, is when necessary, seeking professional help from a counselor or therapist is an important step, especially if emotions or stress become difficult to manage alone. Now, incorporating these strategies consistently along with daily habits such as getting enough sleep, eating healthy, staying hydrated, spending time in nature, and building positive relationship enhances resilience and emotional balance. By learning to manage extreme emotion and stress, individuals can maintain their physical, mental, and emotional well-being, respond effectively to challenges, and strengthen their overall quality of life. Now, what determines your ability to manage stress? While stress is a universal experience, not everyone is affected in the same way, and individuals vary in their capacity to manage it effectively. Your ability to cope with stress depends on the several interrelated factors. First, the quality of relationships and support networks actually plays a critical role. Strong positive relationships provide emotional support, encouragement, and practical assistance during challenging times, reducing the burden of stress and promoting resilience. Feeling connected and understood allows individuals to navigate difficulties more effectively, while isolation and lack of support can make this stress harder to manage. Second is life experiences. This actually shape how a person perceives and respond to stress. Overcoming past challenges builds confidence, coping skills, and emotional resilience, whereas difficult or traumatic experience may increase sensitivity to stress. Learning from experience enables growth, self-awareness, and improved responses to future stressors. Third is emotional intelligence. The ability to recognize, understand, and manage one's emotion enhances stress management. High emotional intelligence fosters self awareness, empathy, and the capacity to stay calm and think clearly under pressure, helping individuals navigate complex or demanding situations with better control. And finally, genetics. These influence how the body and the brain responds to stress. Some people may be naturally more resilient, while others may be more sensitive or environmental or emotional stressors. Genetics is only one component. Lifestyle support system and learned coping strategies also play essential roles in shaping stress management ability. By understanding these factors, individuals can identify areas to strengthen, cultivate supportive relationship, build emotional skills, learn from experience, and implement strategies to manage stress from effectively promoting overall well-being. After understanding the factors that influence how well we manage stress, it is also important to focus on specific emotional challenge, which is anger. Anger is a natural emotion, but when unmanaged, it can exab- exacerbate stress and affects relationship and impact our health. Now, the next topics that we are going to explore is the anger management. Anger management is the ability to recognize your anger, understand what triggers it, and express feelings appropriately and prevent anger from negatively affecting your decisions, relationships, or even physical and mental well being. The key principles of anger management provides a framework for achieving these goals are first, it is essential to recognize our anger. Noticing the early physical, emotional, and behavioral signs such as increased heart rate, tensions, or irritability, awareness allows you to intervene before anger escalates. Second, you should understand your triggers. Identifying the people, situation, thoughts, or stressors that provoke anger so you can anticipate and manage your responses effectively. Third is choose your response by deciding how to act thoughtfully rather than reacting impulsively, emphasizing personal control over your behavior. Fourth is manage and express anger healthily through safe, respectful communication that does not harm yourself or others. Fifth is practice and build habits of self control, patience, and positive thinking to strengthen long term emotional regulation. Applying these principles consistently enables individuals to transform anger from a potential destructive force into a constructive signal for adding needs and maintaining balance. Finally, anger itself is a natural human emotion. It is a strong feeling of displeasure, frustration, or irritation in response to real or perceived threat, injustice, or disappointment. Anger is not inherently bad. Rather, it serves as a signal that something important matters to you. The key is how you express it. When managed effectively, anger can motivate problem solving, establish boundaries, and improve communication. Anger can arise from a wide variety of triggers, and different people respond to these situations in unique ways. So these are the triggers of anger. First is disrespect, such as being insulted, ignored, or treated rudely, often provokes anger and it challenges a person's sense of self-worth. Second, stress and pressure. From heavy workloads, tight deadlines, or high expectation can heighten tensions, making individuals more prone to situations and more prone to irritability. I'm sorry. Similarly, disappointment occurs when outcomes fail to meet expectation, leading to frustration and emotional responses. Everyday inconveniences like traffic and delays or feeling fatigue due to lack of sleep or exhaustion can further reduce patience and increase anger. Financial worries also contribute as money problems or uncertainty can heighten stress and trigger emotional reaction. Poor communication, misunderstanding, and feeling unheard can provoke frustration, while lack of control over situation or outcome can create feelings of powerlessness and irritability. Other people's behavior, such as dishonesty, blame, or Disregard for boundaries often triggers anger, as do physical and emotional state, including hunger, pain, illness, or feeling overwhelmed. Recognizing these triggers is the first step towards managing anger effectively, allowing individuals to respond thoughtfully and prevent destructive outcomes. Now, these are the signs of unmanaged anger. Unmanaged anger can show up in many ways, affecting emotions, behavior, and relationship. Frequent irritability or mood swing occurs when a person becomes easily frustrated or experiences sudden changes in mood. Yelling or shouting reflects difficulty controlling the voice, even over minor issues. Blaming others sometimes happens when individuals quickly criticize or fault others for problems rather than addressing the situation calmly. Using sarcastic or harsh words can hurt relationships and escalate conflict. Another is physical tension, such as clenched fist, tight jaw, or tense muscles, indicate stress building in the body. Impulsive behavior occurs when people act constant arguments or pursuing people's way. Avoiding or isolating others may be a way to cope with the conflict, but can worsen loneliness. Poor decision making often follows anger, leading to unresolved anger, keeping the person is in a cycle of leading. I'm sorry. Poor decision making often follows anger, leading to choices with negative consequences. And finally, ongoing stress and anxiety can result from unresolved anger, keeping the person in a cycle of tensions and worry. Recognizing these signs individually helps individuals take proactive steps to manage anger before it affects health, relationship, and overall well-being. And this one, tips to prevent anger outbursts. So preventing anger outbursts requires conscious efforts and practice strategies that helps individual respond thoughtfully rather than impulsively. First, it is important to know your triggers. By identifying situation, people, thoughts that typically provoke anger, awareness is the first step of gaining control. Second, taking deep breath. When feeling anger, rise when feeling anger rising helps calm the mind and body, allowing for a measured response. Pausing before reacting gives time to cool down and prevents saying or doing something you might regret. Next is thinking positively and reframing challenges negative thoughts and encourages a balanced perspective. Engaging in regular exercises help release tensions and reduces stress accumulated in the body. Talking it out with someone you trust provides emotional relief and understanding. Managing stress effectively through planning and setting priorities prevents an overwhelm. Practicing relaxation techniques such as meditations or mindfulness restores calm. Getting enough sleep, of course, and rest ensures mental clarity and emotional balance, while surrounding yourself with positive influences nurtures a supportive environment. So, by applying these tips consistently, individuals can maintain emotional control, reduce the risk of conflicts, and promote healthier relationship and overall being, well-being. Now, in conclusion, emotional intelligence is essential for understanding ourselves, Managing our reactions and maintaining healthy relationship, emotions and stress are natural parts of life, but how we respond to them determines our well-being. By recognizing what triggers our emotion, understanding the effects of extreme feelings and stress on our body, mind and behavior and relationships, and applying effective strategies for management, we can maintain balance and resilience. Anger, a natural emotion, must also be managed constructively through awareness, reflection, and practical techniques to prevent it from negatively affecting our health or relationships. Ultimately, developing emotional child awareness, practicing self regulation, and strengthen coping skills empower us to respond to challenges thoughtfully, make healthier choices, and lead a more balanced and fulfilling life. I hope you did learn from what we have discussed today, and thank you so much for listening. Till next lesson discussion. Have a great day.